Alright, this video is, first of all, I'm not going to say previously seen on Lost, on the Piro channel, okay? If you don't know the context, if you're the kind of person that'll wing it, it's on you, okay? I do expect 2bsirius and Carmel to understand the comments, the context, because it's this conversation we've been having. And in general, it's, my last 4 or 5 videos. And specifically, the last video Snake made in reply. Alright? Now, first of all, 2bsirius, I seriously don't know where you get off telling me I'm making too many comments. Oh, actually, yeah, and Carmel chimed that in too. In my own comment thread. Because, first of all, it's just too many comments, period. I do a lot of comments. Right? If somebody requests don't do so many comments, I won't. But if you took all my comments together, it's like a half a page. You supposedly like to read books full of page. What's the matter with the written word? I like it. I like the written word. I communicated 83 to 2006 with just volumes and volumes of written words and blogging and comments on blogs. Forums written in whatever kind of software was available and used by the New York Times or whomever at the time. And I don't think it's about making too many comments. I think you don't like that I started to get a little bit, I think you're just trying to calm me down with the fact that I said, I'll just search for spamming. That'll be how to find it. 2bsirius, you said, my God, you're spamming your own video. Misspelled year. I know that bugs you, huh? But it's no big deal. Who cares? I saw it right away. It's like, no big deal. I'm treating you with respect. I wouldn't go, oh, you misspelled blah, blah. Okay, that's the difference between butthurt and emotional. Because, see, to me, this bully thing is important. My whole life, I've not liked bullying, and I don't even remember being bullied myself, except for, maybe I should take this tangent. I don't remember being bullied. I remember people trying to harass me. I was the new student in line. But, unless they find some weakness where you're going to go, oh, you said something about my mom. They don't get a handle, then they just leave you alone. That's different than bullying. If they find a weakness, then maybe they'll try to bully you with it. Right. So, I've always despised that. And I've stood up to bullies many times when they're bullying someone around me, because I think it's like, screw that. And bullies are weak. They choose weakness to attack because they're weak. And I would, I don't really remember, but maybe at some time I thought this was because that I had a morally proper attitude and did it. I don't really remember thinking that. I never really, as soon as I started thinking about those questions, I realized, oh, no, it's just that I rationally think they deserve it. And if you're going to have conflict, yeah, use your conflict there. Use your male aggression against bullies. I just don't like bullies. I don't see any reason to be nice to them. I see reason not to be nice to them. And it's remarkably effective. I mean, just one person in a group standing up to a bully could save dozens of people getting bullied. But I think it wasn't really so much that I was doing a lot of comments. Spamming should be repetitive, or someone's trying to sell something. And I do this in all videos because I like communicating. I answer I don't think that highly of people that just ignore the comments. But if they want to, okay. At least like Gary, at least he's explained. That's just, he doesn't like that medium, so, and sometimes he goes out his way to read it anyway because he realizes there's some content in there. But what? It was in response to me saying, you think that since he says something you think you agree with, this is me talking to Carmel, you think that since he says something you think you agree with, he probably went to medical school to be smart enough to agree with you? Question mark? That was getting a little touchy, huh? So I think you're just trying to cool me off, but in this, I'll insult him on another thing. Well, this doesn't work with me. If you said, hey, come on, don't start insulting Carmel to that level. I disagree with her too on this point, but blah, blah, blah. And I might go, okay, You know, I don't need to get more pointed than that. There's no, but if you go, you're making too many comments in your own videos, comment thread, I'm going to go, that's bullshit, and it's going to be ineffectual on me. So I don't know what the point is, but all right. So now, the thing is, in the context-related stuff, for example, Carmel, and you know, I think I'm talking to you like you're a smart person. I'm not talking to you like you're a bully. I think you're probably nice to your animals. I said the same thing actually about Snake. I think he's being a big fake, and it's counterproductive for people that aren't really bullies and cruel sociopaths to play them on the internet. But then again, maybe he is one. Either way, whether I'm talking to a fictional character, a half-truth character, a real character, that's what I'm presented with. Those are the presenting symptoms, and I'm reacting to them. But anyway, you're trying to, for example, emphasize I don't give a fuck about Snake. You put that many times. Like, I'm claiming to be apathetic, so why do I care? I didn't say I didn't care about the whole issue. When we're talking about context, let's go back to that. Where did I say I don't give a fuck about Snake? I'll have to search this. Give a fuck about Snake. Okay. Now, this was in the context of your comment, the last part of which. Also, bully victim is yet another false dichotomy, and it's relative. I'll tell you why I find that so funny in a second. I do care about these things. I don't like bullies. Are you, to be serious, Hythloday, and application of self, bullying Snake? That's the context in which I said, I don't give a fuck about Snake, comma. And that's the part that you have so far quoted and tried to grind is Snake's word for this. Though I think it's a perfectly good practice. I like to have my words thrown back at me literally in quotations in their original form. I find that I would rather defend or modify, you know, say, oh, okay, yeah, I see how that could come across wrong, or, oh, that's not, I misspoke. So I like it. But anyway, Snake calls it grinding. Okay. There was a comma there after that. I don't give a fuck about Snake. That's what you immediately quote, and you've kept trying to put it. I don't give a fuck about Snake, comma. The topic was this girl and Snake defending her and her family's tormentors. So obviously I care about the subject. I care about my videos I've made on it. I cared about the videos I replied to enough to do that. I just don't give a fuck about you going, oh, but maybe you're bullying him. Oh, well, I'm a big hypocrite. I don't care because I see a reality of he is being this bully apologist for whatever reason, and then trying to practice kind of low-watt version of it. Now, I wouldn't want to tease you. I wouldn't want to tease you or anything. But that's a wussy woman way to commit suicide, and you're a failure. Attempt means fail, and clinical depression, I got depression too. You ignore context. See, I don't. To me, the rules of the road, like if I'm talking to different people, there's different rules of the road. It's called proportional response. If a child comes up and offends me in some way, and an adult comes up and offends me in the exact same way, my response will be proportional to their power and age, experience, things like this. Right. So somebody is defending bullies, and that's different. Now on this specific stuff, I've looked into it. I guess I'm going to keep looking into it. It looks like this is a nursing school thing. Because when I look up, like at ucsf.edu and medical schools, or just .edu so that I get colleges, and I got a lot of medical schools and just school stuff, they talk about signs and symptoms, and they don't distinguish between the two. And they specifically talk about symptoms often, like spots on the skin and things that can be observed. And there's evidently something called the Omaha system for nurses that makes this a stark distinction, a dichotomy. It's not a dichotomy. Signs are an observable symptom. If you look up the general meaning, not in your school, of your tiny percent of people using symptom a certain way to train nurses how to hopefully be better nurses, even if they think doctors are full of shit, like Snake. That doesn't mean that's the whole story. And you can see, because the doctors and medical professionals writing the pages at ucsf.edu talk about observable things also as symptoms. And if you see signs and symptoms, it's usually under one heading, signs and symptoms. Here they are, and they don't bother the distinction there, right? So that's, again, ignoring the context. Within the context of nursing, so nurses could communicate to each other, sign, symptom, blah, blah, they know what they mean. It's not the whole meaning, not even in the whole medical profession. Now, I did not learn that at medical school, but I have spent time at a medical school, and that's actually true. But anyway, as a patient, obviously. But anyway, be that as it may, that doesn't actually support the idea that clinical depression, diagnosed by a doctor that for sure went to medical school, even though it's a hypothetical situation, we know in this situation, the doctor in question went to medical school. Doesn't mean that's just a subjective diagnosis. And some of the symptoms, and what you'll see listed as symptoms or under signs and symptoms of depression, are observable things, like lethargy and trouble sleeping. You could put a camera and see if they're having trouble sleeping. You can see their energy levels based on their other vital statistics, if there's no other reason that they would be so lethargic. So the technical point, this narrow context of nursing school, nurses can communicate with each other. And then there's this other issue of, does that mean that a diagnosis of depression is just bullshit? No, because there's signs of depression, clinical depression. Right? There's signs of clinical depression. Feeling sad would just be a symptom, and you don't even have to have that symptom to be clinically depressed. And then there's the issue of, how does this fit when you're talking to a guy that just told you that he's been diagnosed with clinical depression and tried to commit suicide twice, and your response is to, in a long video, putting him down for being concerned about people that are dancing on the grave of a victimized girl that couldn't take it and committed suicide. That this guy should be ridiculed on this very technical, according to you, basis. Well, I see a broken chains all along the whole thing, right? So that's the whole context. And you see a sentence and stop at the comma, I don't give a fuck about Snake, and act like I said I'm apathetic. I'm not apathetic. And 2bsirius, you're saying, don't you think you're getting too upset? No, you're seeing me probably more emotional than usual, because bullies piss me off. They really piss me off. And it's not from some moral high ground. It's just gut. I just like, really? Fuck you. You know? Really? Like, Gary just recently made a video. I thought it was a very good video. I'd like to make a reply to it. But, you know, and it was just a more direct lament of, you know, why is beauty crushed? Why is things not appreciated? Why the whole thing, that grossness of it. And this is, to me, an intentional part of it. And it's common. Everybody, Americans especially, it's like, well, the kid just needs to learn. The bully's helping him learn. And that's the kind of argument Snake was making, and it does make regularly now. Well, it's just helping him, and if she's dead, so it doesn't hurt. Well, the family's still being bullied. People that are sad are still, it's still the same emotional game. She's dead, but evidently if she was alive and came, she would have stayed alive to be spiteful like Snake. Well, no, she had that option before. And some people don't want to live for spite. It's not good enough. Not satisfying to their mental metabolism for whatever reason. So this is a kind of situation where if you take some little tangent, little thing, you can expect me to go, no, you want to take a thread off to your medical school from supporting bullying and it's a joke. I'm going to tolerate it. I think I'm respectfully showing my disgust with it. I don't see why it's a problem. You've shown me plenty of disgust and emotions of your own, whatever. You know, you say I don't listen and stuff, and that's fine. I don't know if you really think that or not, so I take a little time to figure out. You're hard to figure out. But I think I'm being straightforward. There's the thing. There's answers to every question you've asked me that I try to answer in comments, and then you both go, well, you're spamming. Well, you want to comment on my videos without me replying? What? I hope you can understand the whole situation. No, I don't think I'm overreacting, to be serious. I think I'm reacting exactly how I feel about this subject. And this is how I really feel about it. And if I see bullying in the real world, then you might see a scarier attitude. I'm not into it. I think it's fucked up the world. I think it sucks. I think if there was a magic way to make no bullies and just criminals that really wanted your TV and that's all that was left out of crime, the world would be practically a fucking paradise. People being cruel to each other when they don't need to. People, it's part of oppressing people. Just like putting them down. Making your extra billion, starving a bunch of foreign workers or your own workers or whatever by 10 cents more. It's part of this whole paradigm. That is this problem of we have an attitude problem. And I could tell the difference too, because we're intellectually discussing things. We ought to be able to have emotion and handle our own emotions and do that. And if somebody's going to get confused between that or how I'm talking to a snake while he's defending whatever you want to call it, because I also don't care if, but it's technically not called, this shouldn't be called bullying when you're dead. I don't give a fuck. It's this cruel emotional vampirism. Fuck it. Right? It sucks. I will take an opportunity to say something about it if I want to. And I will reply to people that put comments in my videos, and I'll reply to comments in other people's videos. And I don't know who you think you are to tell me not to do that. Except for you're free to say whatever you want, and I'll just give you this kind of feedback. And again, what do I have to do? Should I go, I respect you very much. I've acted plenty respectful. I listen to your opinions. You're getting my feedback. You want to get in an argument between me and people that enable bullying, because it's funny, then that's your thing. Get in the middle of it. That's your thing. I'm probably not going to change my attitude about you either. You're going to probably get a lot more respect from me than I've shown this caricature Snake Plisskenist character that I think, might just be an actor, practicing acting. I don't know. I'm going to react to the vibe and the pressure and this bullshit thing that he's advocating in his humor. And if you want to be a part of that, then you just have to figure out the vibe yourself. In Carmel, you want to jump in on, but red is a color. You might want to look at the context and see if red is a color applies in the situation. There's a lot of angles you seem to think you don't have to pay attention to. But I think you ought to. And if I'm wrong, well, it doesn't really matter, right? It's just what I think, and I'm telling you how it's going to be on my part. I care about this as much as I want to, in whatever way. And I'm telling you the reasoning I used to figure out my own opinion. Uh, you want some other kind of reasoning? No, it's just the reason, and I figured out my opinion.